We got to talk about the 2023 NFL quarterback class, man, because it's been a massive disaster. This is one of the most overhyped quarterback classes in NFL history. We already know that the 2022 quarterback class was not good when you had Desmond Ridder, Kenny Pickett. The best quarterback from that class was Brock Purdy, and he was the last pick of the draft that year. So that shows you how big of a disappointment that Kenny Pickett and Desmond Ridder draft class was. But the difference between that 2022 and 2023 draft class is that mostly everybody in the draft community knew that that 2022 QB class was not it. Like, everybody knew Malik Willis wasn't NFL material. Everybody knew that Kenny Pickett was backup material outside of the Pittsburgh Steelers and company. But 2023, I felt like the hype was justified. I loved all of the top four quarterbacks in that 2023 class. I thought Bryce Young was going to be a can't miss prospect at the NFL level. Yeah, he had limitations with his size, but this dude was a point guard at Alabama. He carried those Alabama teams, but the same player we saw at Alabama is not the same Bryce that we are seeing in the NFL right now. Right now, Bryce Young is probably the worst quarterback in NFL history to be drafted in the first round, especially first overall, man. This dude is a bigger bust than Jamarcus Russell. And I get so frustrated with people who continue to defend Bryce Young's bad play. Like, if you would put CJ Stroud on that Panthers team, they would be in a much better situation, because just with Bryce Young's physical limitations, he's short, can't see over the offensive line, he can't throw in the middle of the field, he doesn't have a good arm. The Panthers have to run this conservative offense where they only run bubble screens and they throw short passes, quick outs, slants, and they're scared to attempt anything further than 15 yards downfield because they know that Bryce Young just doesn't have the arm strength to throw the football that far. So obviously CJ Stroud is the best quarterback from this class, and he will have the Panthers in better position than what they are now, because what people fail to realize is that with all of these quarterbacks, yes, you got to be in a somewhat decent situation where you get some stability, you got a good team around you, but when you get drafted in the top 5, you're expected to be able to overcome certain limitations. Like Andrew Luck, this brother didn't really have a great team all of his prime years in Indianapolis until he walked out the door because he got banked up so much. You know, T.Y. Hilton was his only consistent wide receiver. The offensive line was garbage, and he had a defensive-minded coach. Chuck Pagano got carried because of how good Andrew Luck was, which is why when he got injured, Chuck Pagano eventually got fired, because the Indianapolis Colts front office realized that Chuck Pagano wasn't a good coach without Andrew Luck. When you get drafted that high, you have to overcome limitations. Nobody goes to a perfect situation. The Houston Texans were believed to be a worse situation than what the Carolina Panthers were. People thought that Bryce Young would have a better rookie season than CJ Stroud, but it's funny how the tables always turn when you look at things in hindsight. And what made CJ Stroud so special, because I love CJ Stroud. I had him and Bryce Young 1A, 1B. I felt like the Panthers couldn't go wrong drafting either one. And let's not act like everybody was a huge believer in CJ Stroud, because I remember going to war with people on X, Instagram, and Facebook who was saying that CJ Stroud was soft because the dude was scared to run against Michigan. Remember when he lost to Michigan twice in his Ohio State career? People said he was soft. He didn't have that it factor in the fourth quarter that you look for. It didn't take that semifinal game against Georgia for people to open up their damn eyes and realize that CJ Stroud was actually a legit NFL quarterback. And I'm not surprised that this brother has had the success that he has had early on in his career. I am surprised at how bad Bryce Young has been, though. I expected more out of Bryce Young. Now, Anthony Richardson, most of us knew that Anthony Richardson was the ultimate wild card coming out of that draft class. Okay, the dude didn't really have a lot of experience playing in college at Florida. The dude only started one season and he got injured. And even when he was healthy, the dude was a roller coaster ride. Week 1, he had a great performance against Utah and the upset win at home. And then after that, the dude was just inconsistent. The same issues that we've seen with Anthony Richardson coming out of college with the footwork, the accuracy, the decision making is being fully displayed in the NFL, because the reason why I thought Anthony Richardson would develop into a good NFL quarterback, and he still can, because there's been moments when Anthony Richardson has had some good games. Like week 1 this year against the Houston Texans, he played pretty well. Against the Jaguars last year in week 1, he played pretty well. You know, you've seen glimpses of moments when Anthony Richardson has been able to put it all together, and you've seen what he's been able to potentially become in certain moments. But there's been more moments that give you a lot of reasons to be pessimistic about Anthony Richardson's future, and if Shane Steichen can develop this dude into maybe the next Lamar Jackson or the second coming to Cam Newton. Because, I mean, when I watch Anthony Richardson play this year, bro, I don't even know how these wide receivers don't cuss this brother out on the sideline. I really don't. He's a high character guy. You know, everybody in that organization loves him. But, I mean, when you're going 10 of 24, 10 of 27, and you're completing like 2 of 14 of your passes going into halftime, brother, you got problems. And the reason why I thought that Anthony Richardson would develop, and I still believe that Anthony Richardson can somewhat reach his potential, it's just that his rookie season got cut short due to an injury. The dude only played 5 games and had to miss the rest of the year with a shoulder injury. So the dude is fairly raw and unpolished. And the thing about Anthony Richardson is that he needs more reps in game to get better. This dude is only going to learn so much holding a clipboard, you know, and your hope is that after this season, once he goes into year 3, he could become what 2015 Cam Newton was, really dominant on the ground, but also a decent enough thrower to win you games. And Anthony Richardson is never, even if he does manage to reach his potential, going to be a guy that consistently completes over 60% of his passes. You can improve accuracy. Some guys are just naturally accurate. Some guys just have a good feel for being able to throw the ball before the wide receiver makes that break. You know, certain times you can't teach timing. You can't teach anticipation if a guy doesn't have it. And Indianapolis Colts seem to be learning this the hard way, because a big reason why I predicted that the Colts were going to draft Anthony Richardson was because Shane Steichen, their current head coach at the moment, had a lot of success when he was the OC for the Chargers. Justin Herbert's rookie season, he tore up the league that year. And then he becomes offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles, helps develop Jalen Hurts, becomes an MVP candidate, and they come really close to beating the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And then, you know, he takes the Colts nearly to the playoffs with freaking Gardner Minshew. They won 9 games. So you felt really good about Anthony Richardson's future with Shane Steichen being the head coach. But as we've seen with guys like Trey Lance getting drafted by Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers, even if you are a really good offensive mind, some guys just aren't cut out for the NFL. And we might be seeing that same situation play out with Anthony Richardson, because what we thought he would become, a more athletic version of Cam Newton when he runs 4.4 at 255 pounds, or a better version of Lamar, or somewhere around that, he's been the complete opposite. The dude looks closer to being the next coming of Tim Tebow than he is being the next coming of Lamar or Cam Newton, because the dude is completing 44% of his passes. Do you know that Anthony Richardson right now has the lowest completion percentage that we've seen in any quarterback that's played in the NFL over the last 10 years? I saw that crazy stat by the 33rd team. Really good media platform. You guys need to check it out. The 33rd team is full of a bunch of former NFL head coaches and executives and players and whatnot. Really insightful platform. But when they posted that stat, I was like, damn, like the Colts really might be in trouble. And I get that this brother needs experience, but you're pretty much saying we're okay with not making it to the playoffs this year by starting Anthony Richardson. But if you were to start Joe Flacco, you would be a playoff team right now. So, and Anthony Richardson, bro, the book is still to be written with him. I'm not about to tap out on him yet, even though he tapped out on his team by saying that he needed a break. All he had to say was, you know, I got winded, I got the wind knocked out of me, but it wasn't a good look. Seeing this brother like tap his helmet and have to get subbed out the game because he was gassed, it just doesn't look like the Anthony Richardson experiment is about to work out. But I'm not ready to write this brother off yet. But Will Levis, like Bryce Young, you can already count him out, bro. Will Levis and Bryce Young, they already are terrible. it's already been proven. And Will Levis is in a better situation than the majority of these guys. Like, his offensive line is pretty decent. He got some really good group of wide receivers. He had D-Hop, Calvin Ridley, Chiggy Okonkwo at tight end, and the dude still sucks. Like, the dude's a turnover machine, and the dude just can't make the layups. So Will Levis and Bryce Young, like, you can already write these dudes down as bust, even though Will Levis was a second-round pick. But it's funny how people were higher on Anthony Richardson than they were Will Levis, but both of these dudes still are really erratic. But Will Levis turns out to be somewhat of a better player, but you know, with him being in the best situation out of all of these guys, this dude just doesn't have it, bro. And look, I knew Will Levis wasn't it when this dude says that he likes to eat banana peels. The dude loves putting mayonnaise on everything. Like, I know that everybody has their own personal preference when it comes to things. Like, I remember my mom used to date this one dude who used to put, like, peanut butter on his cereal. You feel me? So we all know a few people that have, like, a few weird tendencies that they like to do with their food. Like, you might got somebody that likes to put ketchup on everything and whatnot, but it's like, bro, you eating banana peels and putting mayonnaise in your coffee. Like, what the hell is wrong with you, dude? And I watched a lot of Will Levis when he was playing at Kentucky, and this dude was just a turnover machine, man. You can never count on this dude in big game situations in the fourth quarter with the game on the line. I remember the dude fumbled the win away when Kentucky was playing Ole Miss a few years ago, and he still is the same exact player that I remember seeing in college. You know, the dude has all the potential in the world, has a strong arm, good athleticism, but, I mean, if you can't take care of the football, especially in the red zone, bro, you're a liability on the field. And I don't really think that you need to teach a quarterback how to be less reckless with the football. Like, some of the turnovers that Will Levis has had these last couple of years have just been WTF turnovers. Like, Bill Callahan, or not, Brian Callahan cussed this dude out on the sideline for a goofy fumble he had against the New York Jets. If the Titans had a better quarterback, like they had Jameis Winston instead of Will Levis, they probably would be a winning football team right now. They probably would be 4-3 or something like that. But Will Levis and the dude's injured too. So it's just like Will Levis and Bryce Young, when it comes to the 2023 QB class, like, go ahead and give up on these dudes, bro. Like, CJ Stroud, he's the only stud from this class, and it's TBD on Anthony Richardson. But so far, this quarterback class looks like it's on the verge of becoming an all-time disaster. This is one of the most overhyped quarterback classes that I can recall a recent memory. And the reason why it's worse than the 2022 class is because, like, nobody had high expectations for that quarterback class. Everybody thought that at least 3 of these guys would hit, especially Anthony Richardson with him going to Shane Steichen. You would think if there was anybody who could help Anthony Richardson reach his ceiling, it would be Shane Steichen. But you know, like, I'm not out on Anthony Richardson. I'm still going to give it a little bit more time to see if Shane Steichen can do what he did for Jalen Hurts for AR. But Bryce Young, Will Levis, I'm out on these dudes, bro. They suck.